for joining us for the International Student Connects Staying at Work, Staying Safe at Work webinar. So, my name is Ingrid, and I'm going to be your presenter for today. I want to tell you a little bit about the project before we go forward, just so that you have some background and you kind of understand where we're coming from. So, this project is brought to you by the Government of Ontario. Well, it's funded by the Government of Ontario, and the project was put together to provide support for international students and their families. We also have a website. You can go to www.internationalstudentconnect.org. We are the coordinating agency, COSTI Immigrant Services, community-based multicultural agency that serves over 39,000 clients annually across our 17 locations in the Greater Toronto Area. And how do we do that? We come together with other social service agencies that are serving immigrants, settlement agencies that serves immigrants, and we partner with the educational institutions as well. So there are about 16 settlement agencies that we work with and about 21 colleges, universities, and whether they're private or public colleges and universities that we're partnering with to bring this project to you at no cost for anything at all. So let's take a quick look at today's agenda. We're going to look at workplace rights and responsibilities. We'll look at safety at work, workplace harassment, and finding help if you find yourself in any of the situations that, are uncomfortable. So in Ontario, workers are protected by the Employment Standards Act, or it is referred to as the ESA, and the Occupational Health and Safety Act, which you may hear people refer to as OSHA sometimes. Now, the ESA sets rules about hours, minimum pay, and behavior in the workplace. OSHA protects the health and safety of workers in the workplace. Now, I don't really know if you know this, but I'm just going to point this out that young workers are actually at higher risk to be to come across injuries in a workplace more than any other group of people because they're usually very inexperienced. A lot of times, young workers are not necessarily very confident and comfortable objecting to unsafe conditions. And so, young people are generally at a higher risk. And so are newcomers who are new to Canada because a person who is new may be less likely to be, to speak up about something, to confront a problem head on and say, well, I don't feel safe working in this environment. And so we want to ensure that we're providing you with some resources that will help you just in case you come across any of these issues as you go about your business daily. Now, international students are protected under the same laws as all workers in Ontario. Did you know that? All right. Well, if you didn't know, now I've told you. The Ontario Ministry of Labour website outlines the rights of workers in Ontario, and so you can check that out. I'll provide that link very shortly. And these are some really basic rights that you have. For example, you must be paid on a regular payday and receive a wage statement outlining your hours, your pay, and any deductions that are taken from your pay. This is legally what you are entitled to when you have a job. So you must get your pay and you must get your wage statement. Now, for those of you who are planning to remain in Canada after graduation, these wage statements are actually quite critical because you may need to show proof that you have had a job when you complete your application for permanent residence. So please make sure that you're asking for this. Now, in general, a work day is about 8 hours, and a work week is about 44 hours, or sometimes it could be 48, but it's very rare when you get all the way up there. Some jobs are structured a little bit differently from others, and so depending on the nature of the work, you can work more hours if you agree to do so, and you should do that in writing. You shouldn't be forced to do something that you're uncomfortable with once again. And again, you are covered under the Employment Standards Act. So please do not let anyone force you to do something that you're uncomfortable with. Employers must allow all workers a certain number of hours off between your shifts. Some employers tend to take advantage of the fact that you may be new or you may be a student, you may be young, and so they kind of try to just kind of schedule you back to back. Remember, number one, you're a student, and so you are supposed to only be working a certain number of hours in any particular week. I believe it's 20 hours per week. So you have to keep that in mind as you go about finding a job and talking to your employer. Now, you are also entitled to breaks, including a 30-minute meal break if your shift is longer than 5 hours. Keep that top of mind. Usually, if you work more than 44 hours a week, you are also entitled to overtime pay, which is at least 1.5 times your regular pay. If you work on a public holiday, then you're supposed to also get holiday pay. Most jobs must pay at least the minimum wage, which is currently $14 in Ontario, and some employers are paying up to $15 an hour. Some jobs may pay less because workers earn additional pay through tips or commissions, waiting tables in restaurants, for example. Usually, people who work under those in those areas tend to get a lower minimum wage. So check that out. Now, we do have 9 public holidays in Ontario every year, and most workers take these days off. If you work in a service industry that you need to work or work is available and you want to work on the public holiday, you must be paid holiday pay. So you get paid extra for working on the holiday. If you've held a job for more than 3 months, your employer must give you 1 week's notice before terminating your employment or firing you. If you've worked more than 1 year, they must give you at least 2 weeks' notice. If you're assigned to a temp agency and the assignment ends early, you must be provided with 1 week's notice before that. So again, you are covered under practically all of the laws that protects everyone in Ontario when it comes to employment. Now, employers must provide training to you and ensure that you are working in a safe condition. You are not obligated to work if the if the equipment is not safe or if you haven't been properly trained and you don't really understand the rules, right? You, however, do have a responsibility to make sure that you know the rules, you're following them, and that you are closely adhering to anything that remotely comes to jeopardizing your safety. Safety in the workplace is very important and it's everyone's responsibility, including your own as well. Now, you do have the right to refuse work if you feel that you are in an unsafe situation. You can go to www.labor.gov.on.ca to get more information on the number of things that you need to do. So let's just run over this checklist very quickly. One of the things that must happen is be sure to learn the safety rules. So make sure that you get trained, including what to do in an emergency if an emergency occurred. If your job requires that you have hairnets, gloves, aprons, safety glasses, or earplugs, please ensure that you're using them properly. And if you don't if you don't know the safety rules, ask a supervisor. If you identify any risks that, means that, you've put yourself in an unsafe situation or you think that you're going to be unsafe, please consult with a supervisor, a manager, or the employer, the person that employed you. And, please, let's be clear. There are really no dumb questions. So ask away any question that you have. If you're not clear, please ensure that you're asking. If you're hurt, ensure that you're reporting your injuries. Always report to a supervisor or the employer. And if you feel that you're at risk, tell your friends and your family what is happening in your workplace so they can adequately guide you as well. We know that you're a newcomer and chances are you don't necessarily know what's going on. Now let's talk about harassment. Workplace harassment happens when a person does something or says something mean or inappropriate to another person. Harassment usually describes repeated behavior, but a single incident can be called harassment. Workplace harassment includes sexual harassment as well. Let's get into that a little bit more. Let me give you a little bit, some examples. An offensive joke, comments or jokes, bullying or aggressive behavior, spreading rumors or gossip, or ganging up to make fun of another coworker, inappropriately staring at someone, pestering someone to go out with you, or commenting on another person's appearance or sexual attractiveness. Now, I know that there are some cultures where some of these things are, it's okay to say and do. I am telling you right now that here in Canada and in Ontario, a lot of these things are inappropriate. So, I've been in situations where I have felt people staring at me so intently that I have become uncomfortable, almost as if I'm being undressed by their eyes. If you are someone who has done that, please, I'm telling you right now, be very conscious of that because it is offensive. It is not to happen. If you work in the same place and you've asked someone to go out with you and they've said no, please do not pester them and ask them to go out. And, you may see someone, it doesn't matter how closely you may think that you are in alignment with this person, that you've got a really close friendship with them. Please do not make comments about sexual appearances or someone's attractiveness. Like, for example, oh, you look sexy today. No, 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 no. That is definitely a no-no. Making fun of someone's sexual orientation or their gender, uh, their identity, that is totally off the table. We do not tolerate that, and that can be considered harassment and bullying as well. Okay? So please think about that. Now, are you being harassed? And what should you do if you're being harassed? If you're being harassed at work, you should tell your supervisor first. Find a manager or a human resources representative if that is available to you. Now, I am aware that things could happen, and it could be that you're being harassed and the person who's harassing you is your supervisor or the person that you're reporting to. Now, this becomes quite a tricky situation, and then you now need to figure out, how do I go about this? You're probably going to need to find the person that the person reports to. Okay? But because the person you're reporting to may be harassing you, doesn't mean that you need to take that harassment sitting down. So you need to find an authority figure at work and tell them. Keep records of the incidences. For example, save all emails, all text messages, and all other messages that you may receive from this person. I mean, we've got a lot of different platforms these days where people can message you. It may not necessarily be a text, it could be on Instagram, or it could be a Twitter message, or, any one of these multiple messaging devices. Please be conscious of that. Take notes, write down what happens, write down the date when it happened, the names of the people who were harassing you, and if there are any witnesses. I know that a lot of times people will say, well, I don't want to get anyone else involved, but when your safety is being put to the test, you have to think about your safety first. So always, if there are other people that are around, record their names and the times when it has happened. You cannot be disciplined for reporting an incident of harassment. The employer must investigate it as long as you've made the report. The Ontario Ministry of Labour provides many resources and information about what you should do if you experience harassment at work. And your workplace should also have a very clearly outlined harassment policy and provide information on what to do in case this happens. Please do visit www.labor.gov.on.ca for more information. If you need help, definitely you can call 911 in emergency situations. So when it comes to your safety, whether it's physical safety, um, security, health, or work related, the most important thing to remember is that there is help out there. Trust your gut, trust your instincts. Whatever your instincts are telling you, trust it. Now, 911 is only for emergencies, so please do not call unless it is actually an emergency. If you find yourself in an emergency situation, ensure that you call 911. We've already talked about the many resources available to you, but you must choose to reach out and ask for help. It's always there. We've got a lot of it, but if you don't ask, if you don't tell, no one knows. And we're not in this don't ask, don't tell thing. No, we don't do that. Please make sure that you tell someone. In addition to safety and security, um, you are a student, and so you will have security offices on campus that you can go to. You can visit one of the many offices at your school, such as the International Student Services Office, the Career Service Office, or your advisor, or another professor that you feel that you trust to tell that something is happening and you are uncomfortable with what is happening. If you live on campus, you can talk to someone, talk to one of the staff, the residence life staff that are there. Your school may also have a mentoring program or peer counseling services. Tap into those resources, and your campus health centers have doctors, nurses, and counselors who can also help you. So you see that you're definitely not alone. You actually do have a very large um, net of support that you can tap into. Do not forget, don't worry about finding the right person, like, okay, who do I tell? I have to find the right person. No, you don't need to find the right person. You just need to find someone on campus who has the authority to support you. Even your friends can support you, okay? Even if one of these people on your campus or your community can't help with your specific concern, I'm quite certain that they can guide you to the right person who can help you with that. Now, we talk about safe spaces, and safe spaces were first introduced to help marginalized students, such as members of the LGBTQ community. But in today's safe spaces, they are designated for all students who need assistance or support. Many places on campus may be identified as safe spaces or safe zones. And those spaces, you will find some different signs to tell you. For example, the ones that I have here, you'll see, you'll find a safe zone. These are some of the symbols that tells you that this is a safe space for me. They are, free from intolerance, discrimination, hate speeches, and violence. You will see a lot of this that will show that you are in a space where you can be free to reach out to someone. Again, we talked about the emergency situation. Use 911 if you have to. You can make the call from your phone, even if your phone does not have um, even if your phone does not have any service, you can still make an emergency call from your phone. You don't need credit to do that. You can just call 911 from your cell phone without paying for the call. All right? Stay safe during the call if you're in an emergency situation. So find a place where you can hide. There are different places that you can hide. Go under a desk, lock yourself into a room. If you feel that you're being harassed, the operator will ask if you need police, fire, or ambulance when you call 911. Ensure that you're speaking slowly so that they can hear you and they can understand you. I know that perhaps in a situation where you feel panicked, it may be difficult for you to express yourself, but try to focus and think very clearly as you explain yourself. Follow the instructions that they give you, that the dispatcher will give you, and do not hang up until they tell you to do so. If you call 911 by mistake, don't hang up. Wait for the dispatcher to answer and then explain that you're okay and that the call was unintended. Why is this important? It is important for you to do so because if you call 911 and you hang up the phone, they may trace that call and try to find you because they think that you're in danger. So you do need to explain that, I accidentally dialed the number. It was not my intention. All right. For non-emergency situations, you can contact your local police, and there's usually a local police number for non-emergency situations in your area. Non-emergencies includes reporting a crime after it has happened and you are safe. So if the crime took place and you're now safe, because you're safe does not mean you don't report it. You still need to make a report. You can also call the police and report suspicious activity in your community, in your, let's say you live in a particular building and you see this, you can definitely call the police and explain that. If you have been assaulted, so let's say, for example, you've been assaulted and the assault happened last night at a bar or at a party. The next morning, you wake up and you feel like, I should have reported this last night and I didn't, and you want to make a report, you wouldn't call 911 to do that. You would call the non-emergency police number, and once the officer picks up or dispatch picks up, then you would explain the situation. Once the immediate danger is over, you will call the non-emergency number. If your bike was stolen, you would call non-emergency. If you receive a threatening message online, you would call non-emergency. This number is often printed on the side of the police cars that are going by in your neighborhood, or on the website on the front page of the local phone directory. So keep that in mind. Campus safety and security is another one. You should always report incidences. Even non-emergency situations should be reported to the campus authorities because they do need to keep records of injuries or minor incidences that take place. And why should they do that? Well, if you think about it, um, if we don't take a stand, then things do not change, right? So when things happen, even though it may be something very minor, at least you took the step to go and bring that forward. You can also seek help from your school's safety and security officers if something has happened to you off campus. They can help you to report it to the authorities if you feel uncomfortable going directly to the authorities. And we also have anonymous reporting services, so you can find Crime Stoppers, and the number is 1-800-222-TIPS or 8477. Visit www.ontariocrimestoppers.ca, and there you'll find a lot more information, and you can make that report at that time. There are also helplines. You can call 211. You can call Good to Talk. Good to Talk is a website that provides a slew of additional supports that you can use if you feel that you're in a bad situation. You can also call Ontario Mental Health Helpline. And some people may say, but I don't have a mental health issue. Why would I call mental health if I'm being harassed? Well, if you're being harassed, harassment sometimes turns out that it affects your mental health. And so if you feel like you do need that support, definitely do reach out to the mental health services. They're at 1-866-531-2600. You can call them there. And we also have Assaulted Women's Healthline. This is another helpline that you can call. There's drugs and alcohol helpline, AIDS and sexual health info line. So if you feel you're being harassed, you feel like you're in a situation where you need support, there's a whole network out there ready, willing, and able to help you. Now we'll talk to you a little bit about our transition plan. We have a transition plan, which is a tool that helps you to keep track of the tasks and the schedules that you need to keep in order for you to meet your deadlines as an international student, especially if you're planning on transitioning from international student to permanent residence. Check out this tool on our website. It's at www.hec.ca. internationalstudentconnect.org. You may also contact us at 1-844-871-4567, or you may email us at isc@costi.org. It was wonderful spending time with you today. Feel free, like I said again, to reach out, send us an email. If you have a question, if you need support, we will definitely reach back. Okay, so now you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much.